Good morning, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. Today we're going to be doing block 10 from the murder at the Luau. And it is not paper piecing. It is regular piecing. So I'm going to show you my fabrics. The fabric colors that I'm using. I put my little, this down here with the mark, that just tells me what color without having to put all the little post-its. So it's those colors right there. And the chapter is called Turning Point. Now this is for all the new people. This is how I mark for my half square triangle. You're wanting to get 2 pieces out of your square. So I will mark it first right down the middle. Then I will go 1/4 inch over. And I draw dashed lines is what I sew on. But you can do it the other way. You can put your dashed lines down the middle and your straight line on the edge if you have to. And this started out at 3 inches, but we'll be cutting it down to 2.5 inch blocks when we're finished. And we'll have 2 half square triangles out of each one of these. So just do that to all of your blocks and you'll have them all prepped. I used a friction pin, and let's say that I drew my line wrong. I can take it to the ironing board, iron the fabric, and all my lines are gone. So now let's say that I want to do the dashes in the middle now. And I'm putting my ruler from end to end for all of those that are just tuning in and haven't done this before. Make a dash line. And then what I do is I move it over and I take my 1/4 inch line and I put it on the left of my dash line. And then draw a straight line. Flip it over. I do the same thing here. I'll put my line on the left of my dash line. And then I'll draw the line. So you're going to take every one of them, you're going to lay it down, and don't worry about the line you drew. You're just going to put it from corner to corner and cut it right through there. We're going to go up here and we're going to iron. Now that they're all ironed, we're going to cut them into 2.5 inch half square triangles. I have my ruler. I put my 90-degree line on the line, splitting the 2 different colors of fabric. I'm going to take the minimum fabric that I can take off. I'm not going to pick up my fabric. I'm going to leave it down. I'm going to turn my mat. I'm going to turn my ruler back the way it was. This side has been trimmed and this side has been trimmed. I'm going to lay it back down, and then I am going down to 2.5 on my ruler, which in my case is really easy to follow because it has a little black line here and a little black line there. And then all I'm going to do is put pressure on it again and trim it. And there I have 2.5 inch. That's it. That's all we do. And we're going to do it for every single one of these little squares. Now I have laid this out unit by unit. So this is unit A. And I double checked all my colors so they were going the correct direction. This is unit B. And then this is the pieces that we put together. We're going to connect them. So I'm going to go row by row. So I'm going to do the top 3 first, lay them down, do the next 5 right here, lay them down, and so forth until they're all laid down here completed. Now as far as pinning, I'm going to pin this right here because this is where the seam is, and I don't want this piece flipping over as I come down on it. I don't need to really put a pin up at the top unless you feel like you need to be more comfortable with it. But I don't think I do. I'm just going to go ahead and start it. And just watch it when I get down to the bottom so that it doesn't flip over on me. And I've already caught it, so I can take my pin out. And then take it off. Now when it comes to the next side, I'm going to pin up here because that's where the intersection is. And on this, I think it goes like this. I'm still looking at my picture to make sure. So I don't think that will flip, but to be safer, because it's so bulky, I'm going to actually pin it, and I'm going to sew it on the other side so that it stays down. I don't think it'll come up if I start at the top here. All I've done is flipped it over. It shouldn't be a problem because I'm not going the opposite direction. There we go. And that's the way it's supposed to look. Now this top and the other top are identical. So let me go ahead. I'm not going to iron it yet because what I'll do is I'll lay it at the ironing board, and if I iron, I'll flip them all upside down. If I iron this to the left, the next row I'll iron to the right. We want to keep them going the correct way so that they can nestle. Now all I'm doing is repeating the same exact process. I'm just starting it and pinning it at the one end so that it doesn't flip on me. If you want to turn it upside down, if you feel that's better for you to do it, you can do it that way. It doesn't make a difference. It's all going to come out the same way. The thing is, you need to watch your picture so that when you open this, that the colors are going correctly. Let's say that instead of coming this way when I attached it, because I picked it up like this, I took it and I flipped it over so that this part I wouldn't have to worry about it going in the needle. Well, when I go down with it and I was to open it like that, then I've got it upside down. So I don't want to do it that way because then I'll put my third piece on incorrectly. So you've got to keep your picture and watch what you're doing so that you put it correctly. And there's where your points come together, right there. See? Just like a flying geese would be. It's just that they're going to be two different colors, that's all. Now I'm going to add the next one, and this is still going the correct way based on the picture. The next one looks like I'm going to turn around and do another set of flying geese because they're going to go together like that. So I'm going to end up doing the same thing. I'm going to nestle them and flip them over. The only difference is I'm going to turn it over here. And now that I know this is going to the right, I want to make sure that this one goes to the left when I nestle it. Because otherwise it'll be too hard when you go to up over there to iron it. You want to make it easy on yourself. There we go, and then I'll just sew it from this end up here. Just like I did. Get yourself in a rhythm. And there we go. And I've got one more, and that'll be all 5. And it goes on like this. And here's where you're going to decide. You want to flip it over, and you see that I've gone to the left with it. This is going to the left, so we want to make sure it goes to the left when we sew it, so that it doesn't be, because otherwise you're going to have it flip like this. That is difficult when it comes time to quilt. So you want it to go the same direction. If you feel like you need to go over and iron this to make it stiff, you know, to lay it down, go on over to your ironing board and lay that down. That's okay. In the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and put a pin in here, and I'm going to hold it down for myself. And I'm going to do it on this side right here. Now, if you want, you could start on this side here and go down. It's up to you. And now we have them all attached. And I'm going to lay this row down, and I'm going to put it right next to the other row. Here it is. And we're going to start on the next row. So that's 2 rows finished. And then go ahead and continue doing the entire 2 blocks just like that. And then I will show you how to pin them to put them together. I have them all ironed, just this one set now. This is the first row, and I went to the left, as you can see the seam. So therefore the next row had to go the opposite direction. Then I nestled them, and I pinned them, which you can see here. And because I did it that way, I did the same thing with the 3rd and the 4th row. and the 5th and the 6th row, so I've got them all prepared. So when I get done, I've only got 2 more to attach and I'll be finished. Go ahead and I'll show you as I do this first row. And also I want to show you that on this one here, and this also pertains to you, if you feel like there's too much bulk in your seam, you can split it. So I split this one specifically because of the bulk that the other side had. It was too much, and I could tell it based on my pin. So that's why I split it. And you don't have to worry that this has made your seam weak. If you're concerned about that, go ahead and put 2 stitches on here instead of 1. You can put more than 1 stitch. So you've gone over it twice. And as you quilt this, and when you get it quilted, they'll go over the top of this, which will also reinforce this stitch. Let me go ahead and start sewing on the first row here. And as I do that, I will go ahead and tell you the story of the turning point. At the end of the last story chapter that we were doing, Kelly was still in there with Marcus. She was fixing to leave after she told him she'd solved the murder. As she was leaving, she bumped into Lacey, who was coming in, which was fine. Lacey had brought some papers in from the kids who had done their studies. And they got to talking. Marcus was very agitated and very upset. He did a really quick exit, and when he left, the 2 of them, the 2 ladies, are standing in there. Kelly felt a little bit uncomfortable, didn't know what to say. Well, all of a sudden, Lacey made a comment that he wanted to accept an award which was offered to him. It's a prestigious reward, and what it is sort of like a think tank where he was asked to go, but he'd have to leave the island in order to do this. Apparently, he and his wife got in an argument because she told him he could not go to this. He was not allowed to accept it. After she made that comment, it kind of made him a suspect for killing his wife, since they had the argument about him wanting to go, because this was an honor to be asked. And even though he had turned it down, they kept asking him. This didn't get mentioned, and she said that the young girl said she was afraid to mention it because she didn't want him to be accused of killing his wife. Kelly asked the young girl, which I think the young girl is a little bit infatuated with Marcus, the professor. She's very protective of him. When she asked the girl, I was waiting for an answer, and come to find out the girl turned around and asked Kelly the same exact question. She goes, "Do you think he did it?" They just left it at the end of that chapter. That was really a quick chapter, but it did give us a lot of information, knowing that the honor of being asked to join this think tank thing, which is very, very important, and it would have been a really good thing for his career. So now we're going to have to wonder whether he did it. Not that they got in a fight, because, you know, couples get in a fight all the time. But they still were asking him, even though his wife had passed away, he was still getting letters where they were asking him to join. And he has not said yes or no, even though his wife passed away. So go ahead and finish putting the seam down these. By the way, I didn't mention it, but when you do these strips like this, you can chain stitch these too. Anything can be chain stitched. There's no reason to do all 3 of these and cut them as you do each one. Just go ahead and chain stitch them if you would like. And I try not to take that pin out of that intersection until I'm sure that it's grasped it, because I don't want to lose my matching up. Now here's what it looks like before it's pinned, just to give you an idea. And looking at it, I can see that this square is wrong, and this is where I have to fix it, because as I'm looking at it, it's off. It's supposed to be switched. This is supposed to be going this way, and the green is going over here. And although this looks strange, this is correct. That is correct right there, the way that they've got it set. So this is where I check it to make sure if there's anything wrong. I'm going to fix it now before I go any further. And like I said, here's where the mistake is at, and I've got to fix it. So I'm going to fix that real quick before I pin it, because none of this is pinned yet. I'm just going to take this off right here and fix it. I'm going to be really careful with the next one to make sure it's not wrong. Now, the way that I fix is that I took the 2 right ones, because this is the one that was incorrect. I took them apart, I ironed them, Remember, it was like this. It's supposed to go like that. So I'm going to sew these two together first. Then I'm going to sew it to this one. And then I'm going to sew it to the row. There we go. Now it is fixed. And I'm going to go ahead and pin it together. There's number 1, unit 1, or A, however you want to say it. All sewed together. And now we're going to put the second one together the same exact way before we put the sides on. If you're following along, this is the last unit. It was a green on the left, half square triangle in the middle, and blue on the right. Now it is going to go on the right hand side of the block, so it goes like that. And then it tells you to go ahead and trim down to 1/2 by 12.5. I do not trim all mine. I wait until it's time to put it together and then I'll trim it. And after you get this one finished, you'll do the other one. And then they'll both be finished. This does take a while because it had all those half square triangles, which took me a bit to make. I cut out the fabric one day and then I make it another day. I try to break up my projects. I'm really behind on that flaky Friends 2 block. I was wanting to do it, but I'm so behind with the time that we're already on the 5th one coming out. I'll be lucky if I get it even started before the 9th one. Our first block all put together, so I'll get the second one done. I'll put them up here on the design wall. Well, they're both done. Here they are up on the design wall. I really like the way both of these came out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to, ring the little bell, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.